Hi guys, welcome back to a new Discord bot tutorial. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to create your own ticket handler and a couple commands that you can use inside of the ticket, also including a transcript. So let's get started. This is assuming you've already coded your own command handler. If you don't know how to do that, check out the top right corner. It should lead you to one of my videos explaining how to create your own index file and command handler. But for now, let's get started. We're going to need to add a new client event, and it's going to be on message reaction add. So whenever a reaction is added in the guild, we're going to handle that event. We're going to pass through reaction and user. Those are the parameters that get passed through. And now first thing I want to do is kind of filter that if the user is a bot, we're just going to ignore the user. And now in our commands folder, we're going to create a ticket.js file. I'm going to do module.exports equals name, the usual stuff, ticket, and we're going to have a function called create, and over here we're going to pass through the reaction, the user, like that. So over here, let's call that function. Let's do client commands get, not command but ticket, oops, I can't spell, and the create function in this case. I'm going to pass through, again, reaction and user. Perfect. So that's pretty much all you have to do. Let's remove the semicolon like that. And let's continue in our ticket file. So over here in the create, first we want to check if the reaction emoji is correct, and also if the message is correct. And lastly, we want to check if this user already has a ticket existing. If he does, this is going to get ignored because you're not really supposed to be able to open like 1,000 tickets at once. So let's do if reaction.emoji.name doesn't equal, because we have this exclamation mark over there. Let's paste in our ticket emoji, doesn't equal that. And also if the reaction.message.id doesn't equal, and now over here you want to paste in the message ID of the message that users can react to create a ticket. So if none of these, or if both of these are not true, we're going to return. Now let's check if this channel, if a channel already exists with this person's name, which means that this person already has a ticket created. So if reaction.message.guilds.channels.cache.sum. So this function checks if any item in this collection passes through this function, to this filter function that we're going to input in a second, we're going to return. So let's add a return over here. So oops, we have one extra bracket. Let's do channel, and now we want to check if that channel.name.toLowerCase includes. Now we have to check if it includes the user's ID, and also if the channel.type equals text, because if there was a category, that wouldn't really matter, or if it was a voice channel or whatever. Now that we got that, now that we got our filtering, we can get to the fun part where we create. I'm going to return because we're just going to have a bunch of then functions after this. We won't actually have anything after this return statement. So let's do reaction.message.guild.channels. We're going to create a channel, and we're going to name it after we're going to call it ticket, and we're going to give it the parameters, not parameters, the user tag and the user ID, like that. And now we're going to create permission overrides. So permission overrides, like that. It's going to be an array, and over here we're going to type an array of objects, and the ID, so the ID of the person who's created the ticket, which is the user ID, he will have, actually no, we need to start with the everyone rule. So reaction.message.guild.roles.everyone ID. So this role is going to not be able to view the channel that we're creating. Instead, the user that created the ticket will be able to see this. So view channel and also send messages. Perfect, like that. So now actually we can also specify that the parent of this channel, and now we can give the parent ID. So this will be the parent of this. This is in which category this channel will be created automatically. So then with the channel we create, there you go. Okay, we want to create an embed. We're gonna create a bunch of embeds throughout this code. The thing is, they all have a very similar body. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna define it over here. So let's get our Discord library and the embed new Discord message embed. And now the default, so this is going to be the same throughout the entire code. The color is going to be blue always. The author is going to be ticket, or rather the title. And now let's add a nice picture. I found this image. Perfect. Let's use that one. Okay. And the footer, ticket system. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the default embed I want to use. So now let's go back down here and write embed.setDescription. This isn't defined over here. This is unique for each embed we will be creating throughout this code. Embed set description, and let's say you have issued a ticket. Let's see. Okay, what should we say? A staff member will be in touch as soon as possible. Okay, please stand by. Oh no, please state your issue. Actually, please state your issue. A staff member will soon be in touch. Perfect, like that. Let's just do, okay, that's better. Okay, and now we can channel send embed, and then after we send that embed, I want to tag the user that created the ticket, just so you know he knows, okay, well, my ticket was created, and he gets pinged and he can go to that channel. So let's say channel.send, and then user. Perfect. Now, okay, so we've created the channel, and as the people write, as the mod communicates with the user, we're gonna have a transcript. We're going to save the conversation, so we're going to get a message collector that will collect messages throughout the entire conversation, and once the staff member closes the ticket, we're going to stop that collector. So let's get started. I'm going to, so the way I thought of doing this is the collector, collects messages. It kind of turns these messages into raw data that we can feed the transcript array with. Transcript array, and this transcript array is then going to be kind of turned into a text file that we can store and send to the user, maybe even host on some HTML server, whatever, add CSS to it. Even if you're super advanced, you can make the transcript look really cool, if you know what you're doing. Okay, so yeah, anyway, let's create our collector now. It's going to be, we're going to collect messages from the channel. So channel dot create message collector. Now we're gonna need a filter. I can't spell. Now we're gonna need a filter. So the filter function is gonna be the message, and the message dot author. So the message author has he's not allowed to be a bot. Now let's create some events. So collector, and then on, and then whenever we collect a reaction, let's, you know, get, sorry, not a reaction, a message. Let's pass it through. And now, okay, since I've coded this before, I know how to make this as compact as possible. And we're going to be using the same kind of filtering function multiple times throughout the code. So in order to keep this as compact as possible, I will define a filter function outside or inside our module exports. Call it simply filter, like that. We're going to pass through a message. We're going to have it say return, and then it's going to return and now message. So this is going to be, so this is our filter function. So if what I write in these brackets is correct, it's going to return true. And then over here we can ask if, you know, this filter equals true, and it's, if it is true, if that basically means if everything that's written in this bracket is true, it's going to continue with the code. So first I want to check that the person who wrote the message has the permission administrator, and this will actually check before it even stores the message. It's going to check if the ticket was closed, and that can only be done by the administrator. And our other requirement is that the message channel.name, that's lowercase, includes ticket. So that's the only way we'll know that this channel is a ticket channel. So perfect. So that's our filtering function. And now over here again, so okay, we basically check if this passes the filter. So if the person who wrote has, oh, we have to pass the message, has the permission to actually close the ticket, and the message content actually is, actually it would be more efficient to check it over here and then check, you know, if it passes the filter. So content to lowercase equals close ticket, oh sorry, ticket close. This will be the actual command to close our ticket. There you go. And if that's true, we're going to return collector stop. So this will stop collecting messages if the ticket has been closed. So this will technically, you know, tell the collector, okay, stop, we're done here. And we can actually add a on end event later on in the code, and the stop function or method actually triggers the end event in the collector. And over here we can do, okay, fs write file sync in a text file and write our transcript object, array, you know, into this text file. But enough of that. Let's actually go back in our collect event and let's push the raw data that I was talking about, object, and now we're going to get information about the message. We're going to push in here, so the content, for example, I'm going to push in the message content. Then, for example, the author, I want to push in another object stating the ID of the author, so message author ID, and also the tag, so message author tag, like that. Also, I want the created timestamp, so this is not an object, created timestamp, so we're gonna do message.created at. This actually returns a date, so we want to do to locale string to get the time and date format. I want to do embeds. So what if the person sends embeds? You know, we can't really show them, and they need to be shown in the transcript. So let's do this by getting the message embeds, and we're going to map something to them. So instead of sending the full embed, we're going to map, well, each embeds. I'm gonna get the embed and the index, like that. And over here, I want to say, okay, this is our, because you can send multiple embeds, I want to say this is embed number, and then our index +1, because this is an array, so it starts at 0, but I want to start at 1, so we're going to do the index +1. This is going to say, this is embed number 1, okay, and these are the stuff we know about this embed. So for example, let's do a line break. We know the embed title. We also know the embed author. Actually, let's do title. We also know the author. We know. We can also get the I ran the bot. The content. Oh, not set description. Description. There you go. And also, I believe the URL. So the URL embed.url. Oh, let's do a caps. Perfect. We don't need a function here. Let's get rid of these brackets. We don't need that. Perfect. So, right. So what this is gonna do is, instead of having a full embed like object for each embed, it's gonna turn that object, it's gonna get its most important properties and turn it into a feasible string. And now let's continue with our end event. So if our collector stops, if we stop our collector, let's actually write these changes. So let's get concept s equals require file system, because we're gonna needing the file system, and we're gonna fs write file system, and let's get the path, which will be let's create a let's do transcript, and then the file name will be the it will include the channel ID, so it's unique. So the ID is always unique. Let's do .text because it's a text file. Then I want to make this transcript array I was talking about readable. So in order to do that, we're going to do transcript, then .map message, and now because for each message we're going to take this information, and let's get started. So let's get the author. Okay, something like that. Let's get the author. So message author tag, and then let's do line, and then message author ID, and let's do at, and then the time this was sent at. So message timestamp, like that. And then let's do it like that. Let's give the content. So message content. And once we gave the content, we can do line break and show our embeds, and then join them by a line break. Oh, not embed, sorry, message embeds, like that. Perfect. Let's make this code actually nicer, like that. Beautiful. Now I realized something. What if our transcript doesn't have any messages? So over here we end right when someone says ticket closed. So what if someone just starts a ticket and he doesn't reply, doesn't state his issue, and the moderator simply decides, without sending any message, he simply decides, okay, let's close the ticket. So there's no message, so the transcript is empty, yet we're going to create a file and store absolutely nothing in it. So what's the point? So let's do if the transcript length, only if the transcript length is longer than 0, then we're going to return writing the messages to the file. If there's no messages, what are we going to write? Nothing. We're just going to move on. We're going to end the collector and move on. So about the thing where the mod decides to close the ticket because no one responds. I've worked with customers who had problems with people issuing tickets and then not saying anything. They're just opening them and not doing anything. So not even replying, not even sending a message. So it's always good to have a channel.await messages, and then message, and the message has to actually be well, the message author ID, we're gonna wait for a reply from the user who issued the ticket, because he's supposed to state his issue, state his problem. So now we're gonna wait message from him, and also what we're gonna do is we're gonna, of course, I'm gonna wait one. The time, we're gonna set a time limit, and we're gonna say if he does not reply in, let's make it so 120,000 milliseconds, that's 2 minutes. So if he does not reply in 2 minutes, then, well, even if he does reply, the messages that we get from either, like, if he replies, we have a message, if not, we don't. If no messages first, so if we don't even have a message in the collection, we're just going to return. That's what we're gonna do. We're going to completely return. Now that's pretty much it for our ticket kind of reaction handler, I will call it. So now we can move on to the commands inside of the ticket. So let's go. Okay, so let's create it actually above. This is my main function. It's probably gonna be called execute. This is the main function, you know, that executes commands from your index file. So, you know, the functions over here, I pass the parameters. Be careful, parameters for me is an object over here that includes a client, message, args, blah, 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 everything you basically need for your command handler. So now, let's see, let's add a comma there. Okay, so you remember the filter I was talking about? This one? So we need it now. So let's do if this filter, pass to our parameters message, of course, equals false, we're going to return. And now we also need another filter that we can't really include here because this will interfere with you know, using the function over here, but we can add it here. So we can add it in our, you know, main function. We can say if no parameters args your parameters args your, I plan to be the actual command. So we do ticket, and then the arg0 is either is either delete or close. So if no blah blah blah, let's apply with please specify whether you would like you do something, there you go, to, and then close or delete this ticket. Perfect. So real quick, let me just like that. Okay, so now let's do a switch case for parameters arg0 to lowercase, and let's say, let's do in case it is close, in case we close the ticket. We're simply, so we already handled like half the command over here, where if the command is .ticket close, we stop the collector, and that itself even has a specific event that saves a transcript. So all we have to do is really just make clear to the user that the ticket was closed by sending a embed. So we'll say this ticket was closed by staff member. Okay, and then return parameters message channel send embed. Oops, embed. And that's pretty much it for our close case. Now let's do case delete. So if we want to delete the ticket, let's also set the description to this ticket was delete. No, this is gonna be a confirmation message. Actually, I want to do a confirmation message because, you know, you don't just want to delete a ticket. You know, maybe you haven't saved the transcript or whatever, and yeah, basically, we'll do a confirmation message. So we say, please react with the emojis according to the action you would like to perform. So the emojis are going to be a lock emoji. If you react on that, it's going to unlock the actual delete emoji. If you react on that one, it's going to delete. If you unreact from the lock emoji, it's going to remove the delete emoji, if that makes any sense. So let's do return parameters message channel send embed, and then we'll save the embed message. And here's where we're going to react to it. So message.react, and we'll lock with the react with the lock emoji. Let me get it from over here. Perfect. And then we're going to create a reaction collector again. So const collector equals and then message create reaction collector. And then let's have our function. We're going to pass the reaction. We don't actually need a user. User is relevant. Oh, we do. Never mind. Because the user is a very special person. It's the person who's created the ticket. So user ID. Let's start with the reaction. So it has to be, this collector has to include, or the emojis have to be one of those. Either the lock emoji, obviously, or the checkmark emoji I was talking about, to actually, delete the thing. So if, the reaction emoji name is included in here, in this array, and the user ID equals parameters message author ID, sorry, this is equals, and the user is not a bot, then we can, this will pass the filter function. And plus, let's define that we want to react whenever a reaction gets disposed. So this will basically say, by default, the event handler only gets, fired when a reaction is added. But in this case, we also want to collect reactions that were removed. And now let's put the collector to use. So return collector, and then on collect, whenever we collect the reaction, let's pass it through. And over here, let's do a switch case. So let me quickly do a reaction emoji name, and then in case it is this lock emoji, we're going to react message react with this emoji, like that. And then in case it is the checkmark emoji, we can actually go ahead and completely return message.channel.delete, and then collector.stop. That will stop our collector. So now, in case we dispose a reaction, so we remove it. Let's get that reaction. And sorry, it's not actually called dispose, it's called remove. If the reaction emoji.name was this one, we're going to return, it can only be this one, because else, this one completely deletes the channel. Return message reactions.cache. Fine, okay, this is the interesting part. We're going to find all of the reactions who have the emoji, reaction.emoji name equals checkmark. So this will filter for all the checkmark reactions, and it will delete them. So once we get them, we remove them like that. Beautiful. And I think that is pretty much it for now. Let's see, sub 140 lines. Okay, perfect. So let's run the bot, I guess. So let's go over here. Let me delete these transcript files. These are from previous attempts. That. And let's now actually I want to create let's give this message. I used it as a test. Over here where we didn't provide a ID, we're gonna provide the ID from this message. Okay, so we can just test it, Okay, over here, row guilds for some reason. So over here, it turns out I forgot to join using that because it just can't print an array in a text file. Let's run now. Okay, there you go. Now let's write something. And let's ticket close. Perfect. And our transcript was created. We have all of our messages that we sent. No embeds. And okay, perfect. And now we can ticket.delete. As you can see, we react with a lock. Okay, shows that up. If we unreact, it removes the check mark. React again, shows up again. Let's delete it. Bam, it's gone. Okay, that's pretty much how you code your ticket system. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.